Or we're back with new book arrivals number 251. I usually don't go to the thrift store or sales during the week, work week anyway, but I took the liberty of going and I found this copy of The Stand by Stephen King, which may have some value, although it's not in great shape. It may have some value, bruv. May have good value. What year is this? Obviously a pretty cool cover, even though I hate Stephen King. I think he is the Stephanie Meyer of horror. 1980. So what is that? 45-year-old book. As I said, I don't care about King, but I collect his books not only because they have value, but to keep them away from true Stephen King fans. I mean, what's more noble than that? Who Built the Moon by Christopher Knight and Alan Butler. I heard this theory of the moon not being real from David Icke many years ago. Could it be that the moon is artificial? Could it even be hollow? A seeming impossibility for a natural planetary object. Extraordinary claims indeed, but keep an open mind and read the compelling arguments based on scientific evidence and irrefutable logic, arguments that will completely change the way we think of our world. Let's see if they mention Ike in here. No, of course not. No. They mentioned Jesus, though. Maybe Jesus talked about the time when there was no moon. Which makes sense, because the moon is probably fucking fake. Ernest Hemingway, The Sun Also Rises. This is not a great condition vintage book, but it's also not that bad. What year did Hemingway commit suicide? It was way before 70, I believe. So I will say he was dead by then. He died in 61. Who is it? Hi, buddies. How are you? Are you Russian bots? Is Zizi really a duke, too? I shouldn't wonder. Greek, rotten painter. I rather like the Count. Where did you go with him? No. Hellos. Hello, brovs. Do you read? Can you read? Will you read? Have you ever read Hemingway? I don't believe I like this book. I'm pretty sure I read it. Isn't this the one about bullfighting? I mean, not only is bullfighting stupid. Hello, bruv. Baron Mohammed. I do not know what time I got to bed. I remember undressing, putting on a bathrobe, and standing out on the balcony. I knew I was quite drunk. And when I came in, I put on the light over the head of the bed and started to read. I was reading a book by Turgenev. Wow, that's a weird way to spell Turgenev. If it's the same guy. Probably I read the same 2 pages over several times. It was one of the stories in a sportsman's sketches. I had read it before, but it seemed quite new. The country became very clear, and the feeling of pressure in my head seemed to loosen. I was very drunk, and I did not want to shut my eyes, because the room would go round and round. If I kept on reading, that feeling would pass. I heard Brett and Robert Cohn come up the stairs. Cohn said good night outside the door and went up to his own room. I heard Brett go into the room next door. Mike was already in bed. He had come in with me an hour before. He woke as she came in, and they talked together. I heard them laugh. I turned off the light and tried to go to sleep. It was not necessary to read any more. I could shut my eyes without getting the wheeling sensation, but I could not sleep. There is no reason why, because it is dark, you should look at things differently from when it is light. The hell there isn't. Right. Here's probably the book of the week that I found. The fucking family Wicca. The family Wicca book. I mean, imagine you're this woman, you're wearing a fedora, and you got fucking Grizzly Adams over here, and you say, hey, let's initiate Junior into the fucking Wicca Hall of Fame. The Craft for Parents and Children, Ashleen Ogea. At last, Wiccan families can take heart. The Family Wicca book is the first book written specifically for pagan parents who want to introduce their children to the principles of witchcraft. Wiccan activist and mother Ashleen Ogea offers encouragement, shares her own family's experiences, discusses real life challenges and how to deal with them, and provides a wealth of simple rituals and inexpensive projects that will enhance your family's life in every way. When you think of the witch, you don't think of that face. Learn to ground your family in Wicca without devaluing other religions. Explain life, sex, and death compassionately. And with calm, common sense, live mythically and joyfully celebrate the passages in your life. Not only will you find lots of ideas to use right away, you'll also refer to this book again and again as your traditions grow with your family. Wicca's families are Wicca's future. The number of witches raising children to the craft is increasing. The need for mutual support is growing, and the Family Wicca book answers that need. This picture, though, just gets me. I mean, it's fucking ludicrous. What are they holding up? A candle? Look at this kid. Hey, I'm not going to play hockey. I'm going to go to witchcraft school. Goddamn right you will, boy. My son is a witch. To Avalon's past and Greenwood's future. Wicca in the world. Stuck in the broom closet. Are any of you stuck in the broom closet? Missing your Sabbaths because your kid is watching telly? Other witches we know make families of good friends as well as of blood relations too. Some of our friends have babies, some are single parents, some have grown children, and some have none. Some are straight, some are gay. So what's a family? What is a witch? A Nation Among Nations. America's Place in World History by Thomas Bender. I don't know why I got this one. Seemed like it was worth like $18, but I have a feeling it's not worth anything. But I got it just the same. What's this bullshit say? Americans are accustomed to telling their country stories as if the nation were naturally autonomous and self-sufficient. In this groundbreaking work, Thomas Bender asks us to rethink this presumed exceptionalism and proposes a fresh and illuminating alternative to the conventional national narrative, placing American history firmly in a global context. No thanks. He recasts the historical developments that were central to the making of the nation and shows why they can be fully understood only in light. And in light of America's global entanglement to revive decades. A Nation Among Nations is a passionate, persuasive book that boldly challenges us to think beyond our borders. I'm not prepared to think beyond our borders. Look at this. He's been awarded the Rockefeller Prize, so that means he's a globalist for sure. Yeah. When America becomes globalist, they become fucking stupid, and they become China's bitch. Never become China's bitch. And I know Trump's pulling back on these tariffs because he wants equal trade, but I'd say, hey, listen, motherfucker, you're going to give us 0 tariffs, and we're going to give you 10% minimum. And you're going to be happy with that because Americans are fat, stupid, and lazy, which basically sums up my entire existence. And they're gonna buy your shit, or yeah, they're gonna buy your shit, and you're gonna like paying that 10% import tax, and they will like it too because they're fucking dullards. Instead of buying books and postcards, they buy fucking 47-inch TV so they can watch a football game. Now this book, when I picked it up, The Ethical Slut, I just figured it was about whores in general, but no. It turns out when I did an eBay search that it's about polyamory, which is almost as laughable as Wiccan family. I'm a Wiccan ethical slut. What if they're a Wiccan, what's that called, the thruple? What if it's a Wiccan thruple? Babe. Hey, babe. So, yeah, apparently this is about... I mean, here's the thing, man. And I agree that there should be, what's that called? You have 7 wives. Is that bigamy? What's that shit called when you can have... The Mormons have like 7 wives. Is that called bigamy? Whatever it's called. I believe you should be allowed to do that, but all the same, if you really need more than one spouse, if even one, or for that matter, if you're like a man whore or a whore, woman whore, I mean, you're pathetic. You're nothing more than an ape in essence. But this guide of choice for people curious to move beyond conventional monogamy, and for anyone interested in learning better skills for love, sex, and intimacy, The Ethical Slut will open you up to the adventure and freedom that comes from redefining the way you relate to friends and lovers. Janet W. Hardy and Dossie Easton offer the techniques, skills, and ideas they have developed for practicing successful and ethical polyamory. Funny story about polyamory. I had this girlfriend once, and we broke up because she was a fucking... What was she? Diabetic. So, I mean, she would have these wild mood swings, and I didn't know what that shit was about. So we broke up a few times, and one of the times, she was like, "Tell me you love me," after she acted like a complete psychopath. And I was like, "No, I ain't saying shit. Just stop." Anyway, needless to say, 10 days later, after we broke up, she was out in Ann Arbor being whipped by... getting whipped by some guy. It was just some fucking crazy shit. A guy who had a wife, so his wife was there, and then the girlfriend, she was visiting this guy, and apparently he was like whipping her, but not like with a whip, but with like what, I don't know what the fuck those weirdos use that do S&M, where they beat them with like a soft thing, or what, I don't know. I mean, listen, it's the same. I mean, it's the same aesthetic as the huge fucking hole in the ear. Hey, I got a big hole in my ear. I'm fucking Aborigine now. No, you're a fucking moron, and you got no... Same thing with tattoo sleeves on your fucking arms and 73 piercings. I mean, it's just fucking ignorance. It's decadence without any class. I mean, there's one thing to be decadent because you have $10 trillion and you buy a fucking yacht. That's one thing. And a lot of those people do it just for a tax shelter, but I mean, we got literal fucking poverty decadence where people are getting huge fucking holes in their ears. They're getting that goddamn, whatever that thing is that looks like a fucking big boog underneath their nose. What's that called? Septum piercing? You got eyebrow piercings, lip piercings. It's like fucking, I told this one chick about 7 or 8 years ago, and she had all these piercings before it was like a huge fucking fad. And I said, "You literally look like a goddamn fish that was caught 5 times and let loose or broke loose from the thing, and you have all these rings in your lips." And I'm just like, "Stop. Just stop. It means nothing." Anyway, this whole polyamory shit where you're sucking dicks and your husband's fucking eating Cheetos on the couch while you're getting boned by fucking Jesse Smithers. It's some fucking weird shit. Just stop. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. If your wife's a whore or you're boyfriend's a fucking piece of shit, don't date him. And you don't have to go fuck 43 people. It's not normal. I mean, it's normal if you haven't evolved past the fucking state of the primordial ooze. But other than that, I mean, yeah, don't be an ethical slut. Don't be a slut at all. My dearest friend. Letters of Abigail and John Adams. Look at those. Fuck that bouffant. It's pretty cool, buddy. I got a bouffant, bruv. You got a bouffant too. 2007. That's a fat ass book. What was that? What's that artist's name that drew those? What's her name? Mother something. She did that folk art. That's what that reminds me of. That a lot of those old lithographs of houses. Not Mother Jones. I don't get how 3 people arrive in the channel once and then suddenly they're all gone. It's got to be a bot of some sort. Because at some point there would just be like 3 people, and then there's 20, and then they all leave at once. There's no fucking way everyone can enter at once. So it's got to be some kind of fucking bot. The Zodiac Path. Align your life with the stars. Let's find me. Where's May? It's coming up. Few people have the overwhelming creative potential that you possess. Whether or not you turn your talents toward artistic expression, you will be known for your ability to turn the ordinary into the special. You are brilliant, talented, and somewhat volatile. Despite a reputation for being short-tempered, even critical, you command the loyalty and devotion of everyone who knows you. There is no limit to how big you can dream. You believe in your talent, and although sometimes assailed by doubts of how strictly you can adhere to the practical demands involved in bringing goals to fruition, you have far more grit than is generally supposed. Embrace permanence, hidden talents, graciousness. Avoid negative influences, grudges, favoritism. Also born on this day, Irving Berlin, Salvador Dali, Harriet Quimby, and actor Natasha Richardson. That's great. I feel it's an elevated company. Let's see what my child is. Leo. I forgot that my kid is a Leo. Son of a bitch. You may require a great deal of personal freedom. You generally know exactly what you want out of life and don't know the meaning of the word quit. You go after your personnel and professional aspirations with everything you've got. You also know how to bring out the best in others. People born on this day have great artistic potential. You have a very personal view of success, with goals directed more at process than product. You see your work as a pathway to a spiritual destination that cannot be accomplished through compromise of any sort. Right. All right, bruv, that's all for that. Energy healing for women. Meditations, mudras, and chakra practices to restore your feminine spirit. I didn't notice that this had fucking jizz-laden moisture exposure, but here we are. Here we are. Trust your mudra. The trust mudra. Hara breathing is an ancient technique that has been practiced in the Far East for centuries. It's designed to help people find their strong center in their physical body. If you feel agitated or overwhelmed, scared or angry, breathing into the Hara will ease these feelings by bringing you back into your strong center and into balance with the rest of the world. No, it won't. You ain't gonna do shit. Leo, Astro Analysis. I looked this one up on eBay. I didn't see shit. Oh, let's see what this is. I don't know if it goes up to my child's birthday. What is that? Said someone filled out a workbook? They sure did. They sure did. No, this is only going to go up to, it might go to 2,000. No. Oh, there's a page. Look at all this shit. I wonder if, now that I see that there's Leo man and Capricorn woman, I wonder if there's a new astrology for Leo man and like fucking trans. I mean, I wonder if there's new. Yeah, like I said, I wonder if there's new astrology for every like designation of whatever people are calling themselves nowadays. Be pretty interesting to see if people are actually doing that. And I assume someone is, but I mean, how the fuck are you gonna do all that? I mean, you gotta basically write a whole new mythology. I'll have to do a little short on that. The Manitous. I believe I already have this book. Spiritual World of the Ojibwe by Basil Johnston. What the fuck is going on down here? Someone took the fucking cut of their jib and put it on there. Yeah, I definitely have this book. I just don't know if I have this edition. From the strong oral culture of his own Ojibwe Indian heritage, Basil Johnston presents the first collection by a Native American scholar of legends and tales depicting Manitous, mystical beings who are divine and essential forces in the spiritual life of his peeps. These lively, sometimes earthy stories teach about Manitous who lived in human form among the Ojibwe in the early days. Right then. Nothing daunted, the unexpected education of two society girls in the West by Dorothy Wickenden. And hopefully it's not one of those literary fictions, so to speak. Literary, whatever they're called. Where it's basically a novel about historical figure. I hate that shit. Let's see what this one's about. In the summer of 1916, Dorothy Woodruff and Rosamond Underwood, bored by society luncheons, charity work, and the effete men who courted them, left their families in Auburn, New York, to teach school in the wilds of northwestern Colorado. They lived with a family of homesteaders in the Elkhead Mountains and rode to school on horseback, often in blinding blizzards. Their students walked or skied in tattered clothes and shoes tied together with string. The young cattle rancher who had lured them west, Ferry Carpenter, had promised them the adventure of a lifetime. He hadn't let on that they would be considered dazzling prospective brides for the locals. Nearly 100 years later, Dorothy Wickenden, the daughter of Dorothy Woodruff, found the teacher's buoyant letters home, which captured the voices of the pioneer women, the children, and other unforgettable people. The women got to know. In reconstructing their journey, Wickenden has created an exhilarating saga about two intrepid women and the settling up of the West. Hey, I wrote about it. I made some money off this shit. The New Yorker. She's been the executive editor of the New Yorker. What does that fucking tell you? All right. Obviously, this is The Great Gatsby. Everyone in the world's probably read this, but I have no clue what it's about. What's this? I read The Great Gatsby as a teenager. I never met my grandparents. Scott died young. In 1940, at the age of 44, I was born in 48. Zelda wrote my mother from Highland Hospital in Asheville, North Carolina. I longed to see the baby, but she perished in a fire a couple of months later. Fortunately, both of my grandparents left such a trove of intimate letters and blazingly honest essays that I feel I've come to know them. By the time Scott began to write The Great Gatsby, he had already produced two highly autobiographical novels. In 1923, he wrote his editor at Scribner's, Maxwell Perkins, that he wanted his third novel to be different. I want to write something new, something extraordinary and beautiful and simple and intricately patterned. Although Gatsby is a work of his imagination, Scott's experiences, along with those of family and friends, are elemental to the book. My mother, Scott and Zelda's only child, appears early in the story. When Daisy gives birth, she says, "I'm glad it's a girl, and I hope she'll be a fool. That's the best thing a girl can be in this world, a beautiful little fool." This is uncannily similar to what Zelda said in 1921. As she emerged from the ether of childbirth, "Isn't she smart? She has the hiccups. I hope it's beautiful and a fool. A beautiful little fool." Of course, my mother was no fool. She was christened Frances Scott Fitzgerald and called Scotty. In my next incarnation, my mother wrote years later, "I may choose again to be the daughter of a famous author. The pay is good and there are fringe benefits, but the work conditions are too hazardous. I suppose it is impossible for writers to form the habit of inventing people, building them up, tearing them down, and moving them around like paper dolls without doing something somewhat the same thing with live ones. Good writers are essentially nutcrackers, exposing the scandalous conditions of the human soul." All right, maybe one day I'll read this book. Doubt it, but maybe one day. Now, this book caught me by surprise when I saw it, and I usually don't buy the hardcovers at this thrift store. I bought this because they're 95 cents, and I really don't need this fucking book. But The Real Lolita, The Kidnapping of Sally Horner, and the novel that scandalized the world. Apparently, Sarah Weinman contends that Vladimir Nabokov's, or is it Nabokov, Lolita is one of the most beloved and notorious novels of all time, and yet very few of its readers know that the subject of the novel was inspired by a real-life case, the 1948 abduction of 11-year-old Sally Horner, weaving together suspenseful crime narrative, cultural and social history, and literary investigation. The Real Lolita tells Sally Horner's full story for the very first time, drawing upon extensive investigations, legal documents, public records, and interviews with remaining relatives. Sarah Weinman uncovers how much Nabokov knew of the Sally Horner case and the efforts he took to disguise that knowledge during the process of writing and publishing Lolita. Sally Horner's story echoes the stories of countless girls and women who never had the chance to speak for themselves. By diving deeper into the publication history of Lolita and restoring Sally to her rightful place in the lore of the novel's creation, Sarah Weinman's thrilling, heartbreaking The Real Lolita cast a new light on the dark inspiration for a modern classic. Kind of looks like Rachel Maddow. Sally Horner. I thought I saw a picture of her somewhere in there. Sally Horner. There she is. Very interested in this book. Lolita, 2018. I don't know what this is worth. Let's see what some famous people say. I don't recognize. Laura Lippman, I recognize that name. Real Lolita is the corrective we never knew we needed. A lively, engrossing work of scholarship that does not diminish Nabokov, but gently insists that he was not that we not indulge his trickster ways. Sally Horner matters, and thanks to Sarah Weinman, she and Dolores Hayes will forever linked. Groundbreaking work, a new genre into itself. Crazy. I never knew that the book was based on a real kidnapping, which makes it kind of even more fucking pathetic than it is. Blacklisted by History, the untold story of Senator Joe McCarthy and his fight against America's enemies. And I do agree that Joe, I almost called him Joe Stanton, Joseph McCarthy was one of the great prophets of the 20th century. I mean, he basically foretold what was going to happen to our country, and that all these sons of bitches who call themselves progressive are really fucking communists who hate America. And they do. They literally fucking hate it. And his advice was to root them out and push them to the margins of society. And he wasn't wrong. But, I mean, you can't really do that in society. But as he was saying, a lot of them, he believed, were in the government and in the army. And he wasn't wrong, because look at, like, General Milley and these fucking people. I would give China the secrets because I hate Trump. That's fucking great there, buddy. But McCarthy was not wrong. These people were communist. And now we're infiltrated by communists in our government, quite frankly. All right, we got 2 books left. One is Merrill's English Text, Julius Caesar by Shakespeare. I bought this at an estate sale, mainly because it has the name of what I think is either J.N.A. Carpenter, which I think is James. Or is that John? That's J.N.A. It's either Ira or it's J.N.A., which I believe is either John or Jim. What's this say? Nina's. What's this say? Something about poor grandma. Poor grammar. Oh, okay. Never show something poor grammar by J.N.A. Carpenter, I believe it says, from Wayne, Michigan, which is where I live. And he is from an important family. I assume it's like John or James Carpenter. They're from an important family that not only ran a hospital in the city, but they also built a man-made lake, which was a popular tourist attraction for many years in the area. So I bought the book just because it has that name in it, Carpenter, Wayne, Michigan. The house I bought it at was also in Wayne, Michigan. So the New Universal Letter Writer, which is a cool book in itself, and was also purchased at that estate, but it's got a name of Gosper. I think it's Gosper. I found this guy on Daniel Gosper. He was from Fredericksburg, Ohio. I actually found his Find a Grave listing, and his father too was named Daniel, I believe. Mr. Daniel Gosper's book. You know. I'm not sure what the you know part's about, but this is a great looking book. Then there's also an envelope to somebody named Master Bud Spiker, who was from Tippecanoe, Ohio. I'm guessing this dates back to the 1800s, since this book was published in 1854. It's got some great letters in there, and these are form letters that tell you how to write a letter 200 years ago, basically, 170 years ago. Letter XXIX. The lady in reply putting the matter to a sudden issue. Sir, as we are both so well inclined to avoid unnecessary trouble, as well as unnecessary compliments, I think proper to acquaint you that Mr. Dunford of Baltimore has the management of all my affairs, and is a man of such probity and honor that I do nothing in any matter of consequence without him. I have no dislike to your person, and if you approve of what Mr. Dunford can acquaint you with. In relation to me, and I approve of his report in your favor, I shall be far from showing any gentleman that I have either an insolent or a sordid spirit, especially to such as do me the honor of their good opinion. I am, sir, your humble servant. Right then. That's all the books I found for the session today. And what was the other day? Was it Tuesday? I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, it was Tuesday. So there's that. Pretty cool old book. Some brilliant letters, and that's going to be all for this live cast, bruv.